Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Edith and I like to read books and yap about them to you guys. Okay, I see what we're doing. I like it. Alright, so it's later in the same day. I wanted to give a quick update, and in case you can't tell by where the bookmark is, I am really enjoying this book. I am on page 132, which is like 44% through, almost halfway. I could continue reading until I got halfway, but I do think I need to get into my bed and watch something on my computer. I don't even know what to say about this book. I made a quick little like reading vlog for TikTok that will have been posted way before this video, or not way before, but like a week, maybe two before. I don't even know what to say. Maybe I should start by telling you guys what this is about, because I don't think I did that in the intro or anything. I also don't think I actually said the fact that I ended up starting with this, but I feel like you guys saw it in the video. But I did in fact start with this, and we follow the Salt family, which is this dad with 3 kids who live on this completely deserted island. Basically on this island there's like a factory where a bunch of scientists did something. We have no idea what they actually did yet, and then the island is slowly starting to disappear because of like climate change and stuff like that. Like, it is being overtaken by water. So all of the scientists have left, and this family is the only people left trying to like gather all of the stuff from the island that is needed to send it to the mainland before the island actually disappears. And then one day this woman, his daughter, finds this woman in the water. She's unconscious, close to dying, and they like take her back to the house, wake her up, and now she's trapped with them on this island for like 6 more weeks. And basically there's so many eerie things. First of all, every single character in this book has some kind of secret that we don't know. Even though you get to be in every single person's head, you still don't know every single person's secret. And then on top of that, we have, I don't want to say ghosts because I don't think it's actually going to be a paranormal thriller, but there are talk about them feeling like they can sense spirits from people who have died on this island. The dad keeps talking to his dead wife because he sees her, and one of the kids is like talking to the dead animals he sees all around this island. So it's just this very perfectly made eerie setting, and I love the setting. They have seals, they have penguins, and I love penguins. Someone is buying fireworks, so I'm gonna take that as my sign that I need to shut the F up and go to bed. So I'll see you all once I decide to continue this tomorrow though. it's time to finish the last 10 pages, and I have cried for most of the morning reading the last 50 pages of this book. So let's do this. Wow. Give me a moment to compose myself and we'll talk about this. All right, I've tried to compose myself. I gave it like 5 minutes because I need to talk about this right now. I do think I'm gonna end up giving this a 4.75. I was thinking about a 4.5 and I was like, no, that just does not feel like enough. And then I was thinking about a 5-star and I was like, no, because you were bored. There were a few moments in this book where I was like, dragging it along a little bit. Let's pick this up and be done. But all in all, I enjoyed it for most of the way through. I really, really did. The setting in this, beautiful, eerie, dark, and like it is based off of a real place, so like also believable, but in like it's one of the wonders of the world, so like it's believable, but you're still like, I cannot believe a place like this would exist. I looked up pictures of the place this is based on, and wow. Then we have the characters. I really enjoyed the characters. I really did. I do feel like maybe that also has something to do with it, that it took me a while to really get into the characters' heads and like really feel like I knew them, but towards the end I definitely knew them. Like I have made clear 2 seconds ago, I cried a lot during the last 50 pages or so, and most of that was actually because of the real, very real aspect this book talks about, which is global warming and what it's doing to the planet, and obviously what it does specifically to this place that they are on, which is beautiful and has been their home for the past like 8 years. And this was honestly just, it mixed together this eerie sense in some fiction way. Like there were a little bit of talks about ghosts, not specifically like I'm not sure if you would read this and then be like, yeah, there were ghosts, or if you're more gonna read it and be like, it's just something they're feeling. But there's an eerie aspect in that, and then there's the scary, very real aspect in the entire what is happening to this island they're on, what they're working towards, all the work that might be lost, all of that. All in all, I just really enjoyed this. It was so exciting, but like also informational, and it was just all in all a really great book, and I would 100% recommend this. The writing, I need to make a quick note of that. The writing was so beautiful. I'm already looking at my library to see if they have her other books. I'm pretty sure they had one copy of the Wolves. I don't remember what it's called other than the fact that it has the word wolves in the title. But basically, I want to read more books by her just because of the writing in this book. I kind of wished I owned this book because there's so many moments where I was like, I need to underline this, and then I couldn't. But I'm very happy that I discovered this on a random table at the library and decided to get it. All right, here's the thing.
I am unsure what to say, feel, and do right now. And first problem, I'm only 2 chapters into this. I'm only like 11%, which is 43 pages into this book. And I feel like that is too early for me to actually make any form of decision. So far, I don't have the best feeling about it. I don't. I fear this might be too just straight up depressing, and I am all for a sad book. We know this. I love a sad book. And this is supposed to also be kind of humorous, and I guess I have seen where that's coming in. I'm not sure what I think. In theory, this should be perfect for me. I love sad books. I love deep character-driven books. I love dark humor. I love all of that stuff. And yet 2 chapters into this and I find myself uninterested. I'm not enjoying the writing style. In my brain it's kind of confusing, but like I said, I don't think I'm far enough in to actually make that decision. But I do think I'm gonna get settled in my bed first and then do an hour of reading of this. And then after that hour, I'm gonna be honest with myself. After that hour, if I'm still sitting with this feeling of like this is gonna do nothing to help my current mental state, I will put it down and DNF it for now, and maybe I'll pick it back up somewhere in the future. But like sometimes you're just reading a book and it's the wrong time. I feel like that's the problem. I feel like, yeah, that could end up being the problem. But like I said, we're gonna give it an hour.
Alright, an hour later and we made it to page 103. This hour later, I'm very much into it. My thought before this hour was that I was scared it was gonna be like the wrong time to read this book because like I said, haven't been doing the best mentally, so maybe depressing wasn't the best idea. And then, like, I think I also mentioned that in the clip that I was hoping that it was gonna go over to become more, I don't want to say inspirational because that's a bit like, if I want an inspirational book, I'll go read like self-help or something, but like healing, I guess. I wanted it to go a little bit away from the super depressing, and it kind of did that in these pages in a way. Not fully, but I can kind of see where it could be going, where I actually feel like it might be the perfect time for me to read it right now. So I will 100% be continuing this book, not DNFing it.
Siapa
We're back on the floor in front of my bookshelves, and you know what that means. It in fact does mean that I finished a book. The Wedding People. I don't want to get too much into this because I do feel like this could be a book that could be very important to some people. So therefore I don't want to speak too badly about it. Unfortunately, I did not enjoy this. I really didn't. I enjoyed moments of it. I laughed. I even cried a little bit, but not enough for me to be like, yay, loved it. No. I talked to you guys 40 pages into this and I was like, I kind of want to DNF it. I'm scared it's going to be too depressing. That wasn't actually the issue, but I do feel like it was a bad omen of me already 40 pages into this to be like, I kind of want to DNF this. And then I read for an hour, got kind of into it, and I was like, wait, this could be really inspiring. And then she didn't take it the inspiring route that I wanted her to take this. It didn't stay depressing either, it just got a little bit boring. There were a lot of subplots that I feel like we didn't need to bring up. And I'm all for a book that kind of goes into different people and kind of shows us that this person seems really annoying, but this is actually what's going on with them. I just don't think this book did it that well. It didn't exactly make me care about the characters. There were a bunch of characters in this that I still found extremely annoying, even after hearing what was actually going on in their lives. And I actually just think that sums up my feelings. Boring. I was bored for so much of this. I read the last 100 and something pages today after I got home, 130 or something pages of this, and I was waiting for it to be over. I was like counting down. Like, there were funny moments. I liked the humor because I do like a little dark humor. I actually love dark humor. So I did like some of the humor in this. I just think the plot was boring. I think the writing was a little bit weird. Like, in that, of course, it's a writing style, whatever. But she would, like, have dialogue, and then she would stop the dialogue, but then it would just be explaining what the person was saying because they said more. And I'm like, that's weird in my brain. That's weird. Yeah. I ended up giving this a 2.75 stars because, like I said, there were moments in this that I laughed at. There were moments in this where I cried at. There were moments where I was like, oh, this could be amazing, and then I was just let down afterwards. So all in all, I wouldn't recommend it, but I don't regret the fact that I finished it, if that makes sense. Like, even though at the last like 60 pages I was like, yeah, I kind of just want to put this down right now, I don't regret the fact that I pushed through and finished it, but I also feel like I could have lived without reading it and still been the same person. It did inspire me the other night when I read an hour because I was thinking of DNFing it. It did inspire me to write a little bit in my journal, but that was the moment that I was like, I think this could be very healing, and then it just didn't go very much into that aspect at all. And I kind of wanted it to do that, so I was really let down by that. But that marks the end of that book, and it also kind of, for me, marks the end of summer reading. That is the final summery book I'm going to read, even though I'm pretty sure it took place over fall, but like in a warm setting with the beach and pools and stuff, so still really summery. Which means we're moving back into the fall reading with our final book, Billy Summers by Stephen King. And I did already start this outside 2 seconds ago, and I read to page 3, which is I read to chapter 3, which is page 26. And I'm very intrigued. I'm very excited. I'm very nervous also. I've read 2 Stephen King books in my life, and I read them both in Danish, which I'm not going to talk too much about those because I didn't enjoy them, but I do think it had something to do with them not being in the original language, them not being in English. And I've always been open to trying more Stephen King, even though I didn't enjoy the other 2. And this sounds really interesting. It is about Billy Summers, in case you can guess, and he is like a professional hitman, but he wants to retire. Before he can retire, though, he gets this last job he has to do, which part of the job is that he has to live
in this house under a fake persona for like, you don't even know how long. Could be 6 weeks, could be 6 months before, and like establish this persona before the actual job, and then he should be able to like retire for being a hitman. And that is just unique. But I feel like Stephen King always comes up with new and unique ways of writing and stories to tell. So I'm very interested in this. And from just like the first 2 chapters, I like the writing. I have a feeling this is going to go by fast because in each chapter we have these, so this is like chapter 3, but then it's 1, 2, and then it keeps going like that. And something about that in my brain is kind of like short chapters where you feel like it's going by faster because you keep hitting a new pause and you're like, yeah, I did that very fast. This is the longest one of all the books. It is 432 pages, which is honestly pretty good for a Stephen King book. Pretty good. And I'm very excited. So let's just continue on with this video and finish it off strong with my first ever Stephen King in the original language. All right, I'm going to make this kind of quick, I think, because I don't have, actually that's a lie. I have like a lot of thoughts, but I don't know how to put them into words. Spoiler free, nonetheless. But a while ago I was going to make an update where I basically was going to tell you guys that I thought this was okay. Like, I was going to be very adamant about the fact that I wasn't sitting around being like, wow, this is perfect and like, give me. But I also wasn't sitting with a feeling of like, this is so boring, I want to put it down. I don't know how he did it, but somehow the pacing of this so far has been like perfect. And like, you would think it's a book where he spends a majority of it sitting around waiting for this job he's supposed to be doing, which, like I pointed out, he's a hitman, so the job is the fact that he has to shoot somebody. But you get told that he has to sit around and wait for maybe 6 months. Nobody knows like how long it's really gonna be, and I was like, oh, that could be really boring. Somehow Stephen King made it not boring at all. I haven't had a moment where I was like, wow, I need to put this down, but I also haven't had a moment of being like, I can't put it down. I just haven't put it down because I haven't had a reason to, and I've been enjoying it. And then I was like, okay, now we're gonna keep reading, we're gonna get to the halfway point, and then we can take a little bit of a break for dinner and some creative stuff. And then the last 2 chapters or something took a turn I was not ready for. And I was like, what is, in like a good way, like I liked it because I was a little bit like, where are we gonna take this now? Because I feel like a certain point in the book happened and you're like, but is that not the end? And then it certainly is not the end. I have no idea though where it's gonna go, but I now know that we have an opening for it to like go somewhere. Whereas before, I was scared that it was gonna start getting boring, but the last like 216 pages I am very excited about, and I actually think that like in my brain it can only get better
from here, which makes the book sound bad, but that's just to say that I'm not expecting it to get bad. I'm expecting it to either stay the same, like this is good feeling, or go from wow, this was really good to be wow, amazing. Because so far, like I said, I haven't been getting the feeling of it being amazing, you know, the 5-star feeling. If you, like me, rate based off feelings and vibes and moods and stuff like that, you'll know what I'm talking about with the 5-star feeling. It's like I couldn't pinpoint anything wrong with the book, but it's not giving 5-star feeling. That's the best I have for now. I am, however, very excited to keep reading and finish this eventually. Alright, so I did in fact not film an outro yesterday, even though I finished the book yesterday. Basically, the last clip you guys saw was me going to the library because I wanted to finish it now, and then I could just deliver the books. Which also means I don't have Billy Summers to hold up, but you guys know that's the book I'm talking about. I ended up rating this book a 3.75? Why am I... Yeah, a 3... I ended up rating the book a 3.75, and honestly, that's a pretty good rating. Some of the thoughts I think I've already mentioned does still stand. Actually, no, there was one change. Towards the end, I actually did get a little bit bored. That could have had something to do with me maybe rushing through it in the morning, but I don't feel like I was rushing through it because, like, I didn't have a reason to rush. It's not like I couldn't have just taken it back with me home and then delivered it another day. But I do feel like in the end it was kind of boring and I got a little bit confused, which again, not the book's fault. I think it's just me and the fact that I was tired or something that day. But the ending did in fact confuse me a little bit. And other than that, let's actually go over some positives. I really enjoyed the story. It was very unique. You had no idea where it was going to go at any moment in the story. And I like the fact that beside the story itself, you were told this other story. I'm not trying to spoil anything. Which kind of made the book a little bit like historical fiction along with the thriller aspect we had going on, which I really, really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Billy Summers as a character. I really enjoyed a certain other character in the book. The main characters. I really enjoyed every single main character, and I did think it was really interesting and unique, except for the fact that I was a little bit bored and confused at the end, and I feel like that was what I explained at some point in the middle of the book, was that it was like, most of this is also based off how I was feeling reading the book. Like, at no point throughout the book was I like, wow, this is an amazing piece of literature. But I also didn't have a single point in the book where I was like, oh, this is really boring, or this isn't good. So all in all, I had a very positive experience. And all in all, with the books as a whole, I had a pretty good experience. I got one book that I think might be a new favorite of mine, and then a book I didn't really enjoy, but a book I really wanted to read that I got read, and then my first Stephen King in English. So I would say that this video was, in fact, a success because I will be using my library a lot more going forward. With that said, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you want to see a part 2 or anything, comment that down below. Don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, turn on your bell notification so you get notified every single time I post a new video, which should be every single Saturday. So, without further ado, I will see you all next Saturday.